What is going on, summoners? It is Christoph with you guys once again. I've missed all of you. How are you guys doing? I'm so stoked to give you guys the rundown this time. I'm curious which one of you guys got in on the GME craziness last week. I was checking out our Discord and I saw a ton of people talking about it. Do we have anybody on our team who bought last month? That was some craziness, but I digress. This video is about patch 11.3, and we're going to give you guys a tier list curated by our in-house analysts to help you guys climb. This is a huge patch, so let's jump into it. But before we do, if you could hit that sub button, that would be super helpful. We are trying to get to 1 million so I can get that gold plaque. God, wouldn't that be fun? Okay, now let's hop into the first section. You guys know it's my favorite section. It is the skins section. The very first thing we always have to go over is the skins, and the ones this patch looks spectacular. I've been extremely hyped ever since they were teased at the opening ceremony for Season 11. We've got Lunar Beast, Alistar, Annie, Aphelios, Darius, Jarvan, and Fiora joining the lineup this patch. In addition, Crystal Rose, Swain, and Zyra, plus Withered Rose, Syndra, and Talon have also been added to the store this patch. Check them out, but only if you're prepared to potentially put a hole in your wallet, because these guys are expensive, but definitely worth. With that covered, let's talk about all the item changes we have this patch, starting with the nerfs to Deadman's Plate. The health on Deadman's Plate has been reduced from 475 to 400 this patch because it's been too strong since the start of the preseason. Movement speed was added as a bonus stat to the item and it was no longer an exclusive bonus from the passive. As a result, its users are much stronger than before because they can outrun their opponents much more easily. Whether this is to chase or escape, it doesn't really matter. You are not getting away from a person with Deadman's Plate. Typically, this item is built to get around a lack of mobility, and clearly it's been getting the job done, so it's a well-needed nerf. Next is Staff of Flowing Water. The item is so strong that even champions who don't specialize in utility are building it. While it was intended to be another option for enchanters to build, to buff up spellcasters on their team, it's just so good that anyone with some healing or shields can use it. There's too much value on it, and so the AP has been reduced from 60 to 50 this patch to compensate. Zhonya's Hourglass has received a small nerf this patch as well. Of course, this also includes Seeker's Arm Guard, as both of these items now cost 100 more than before. Another nerf this patch is to Iron Spike Whip. It's providing a bit too much accessory power through the form of wave clear and jungle clear speed. Starting this patch, it no longer deals double damage to minions and jungle monsters with less than half health. There's even more reason now to upgrade it into a mythic as soon as possible. Before we get into the next one, I want all of you guys who speak Spanish to join our new Spanish channel. We're going to be uploading a ton of incredible content in Spanish on that particular League of Legends channel, so all of you guys who either speak Spanish natively, or for any of you guys who want to learn Spanish, you can go onto that channel and get the same videos that we publish here, but in Spanish. And by the way, I'm going to be doing some of those videos in Spanish, so if you guys want to hear me speak Spanish, you guys can go check that out. Alright, now on to Gore Drinker. Gore Drinker did get nerfed this patch. With this change, a lot of us are happy about it. We can move forward knowing the healing has been reduced from 12% to 8% of your missing health. A lot of champions have been far too powerful because of the excessive healing Season 11 has brought upon us. Gore Drinker plays a big role in this issue, and as a result, it's gotten a huge nerf. Expect champions like Aatrox and Olaf to take a big hit this patch, and Ravenous HYDRA has also been nerfed for the same reason. Ravenous HYDRA's Omnivamp has been reduced from 15 to 10%. 15% is a very high amount at all stages of the game. Toning it down should make it a lot less oppressive, but I still expect healing reduction to be mandatory. This was a well-needed change, and we'll have to see how the meta develops as a result. Next is Steric's Gauge. Man, top laners have it rough this patch, don't they? I was abusing Malphite for so long when it was in OP tier, but the jig is up, guys. Top is no longer as hot as it once was. The base shield has been reduced on Steric's Gauge from 200 to 100 and only lasts for 4 seconds instead of 5 seconds now. Alright guys, that was it for the item nerfs. Now let's go into the item buffs. While Deadman's Plate has been a great purchase for frontliners, Force of Nature has been lagging behind. This patch, the movement speed per stack has been increased from 6 to 8, and the maximum bonus has gone up from 30 to 40 as a result. Frozen Heart has also been buffed this patch. This item feels underwhelming in some games, but absolutely amazing in others. That's completely fine because it is a situational item and isn't really a core item for anyone at the moment. The price was reduced by 200 and the armor by 10 in compensation. Although it's lost some stats, the fact that it's cheaper now is a huge buff. If a situational item is cheaper, it's easier to splash it into any new build when necessary. High price points can discourage purchases. Some champions really want other items, and you don't always get enough gold to complete other items. With this buff though, players don't have to sacrifice as much to buy Frozen Heart when they need it. One of the biggest changes this patch is to Chemtech Putrefier. It's gotten a little rework, and now when you heal or shield an ally, their next application of damage is buffed with a 60% Grievous Wounds effect. Also, the ability Haste has been increased from 15 to 20. When your teammates refuse to build Grievous Wounds, you can now build it for them. Another item buffed is to Immortal Shield Bow. The AD has been increased from 50 to 55 and the attack speed from 15 to 20%. While of course this makes it a more viable purchase for marksmen when they need extra durability, this is going to be a sizable buff to both Yone and Yasuo, who frequently look to use it as their mythic item purchase. Phantom Dancer has gotten big changes this patch as well. First, it now provides 20 AD, but the attack speed has been reduced from 45% to 25%. Again, Yone and Yasuo are looking much scarier this patch. Longsword has replaced Dagger in the recipe, and to access the bonus attack speed on Phantom Dancer, you only need to attack 4 times. To compensate this buff, the bonus attack speed has been reduced from 40 to 30%. This adds some diversity to crit items, as champions who don't need attack speed will now lean more into this one over others. Good old Lord Dominic's Regard has also gotten a buff. The armor penetration has been increased from 25% to 35%. I hope that this change is enough. It sounds like a big one, but those big, scary, tanky boys have been a huge nuisance to try and cut down. Verdant Barrier is next on the list. Like Arm Guard, it now provides half a point of MR for each unit you kill up to a max of 15. The cost has been reduced from 1200 to 1000, making it an excellent purchase for harder AP matchups. Accordingly, Banshee's Veil has also been buffed. The AP was increased from 65 to 80, and the cost up from 2500 to 2600. While cost increases are obviously bad, 100 gold for 15 AP is insane. 15 AP has a gold value of 326.25, while there'll be rare cases that the extra 100 gold spent will get in the way of other necessary purchases. It's clear that this is intended to increase the strength of the item. Another AP item that's been nerfed is Lichbane. Still a little bit too strong, the AP has been reduced from 80 to 70. Horizon Focus had its AP increased by 15 this patch, putting it at 115. This item isn't purchased nearly as much as Riot would like players to buy, and it's officially gotten a buff to bring its popularity up. Also, the Hypershot minimum range has been lowered from 750 to 700, making it easier to utilize. Silvermare Dawn has been in a similar situation and has gotten a buff this patch as a result. The AD has been buffed from 35 to 40 and HP from 200 to 300. Finally, we've got some item adjustments to go over as well before we get into the champions and the tier lists. Leeching Leer has had its Omnivamp lowered from 10% to 5% this patch, but also grants 100 more health. In an attempt to lower the amount of healing in the game, the power has been adjusted across various items. Riftmaker has had its Omnivamp lowered from 15% to 8%, and the health increased from 150 to 300. Also, the mythic passive no longer grants magic penetration and instead provides 8 AP and 2% Omnivamp. 15% Omnivamp is a bit too much early game, and it'll now take a lot more time to access. Eclipse has also gotten a buff. The shield has been increased from 150 to 180 and from 75 to 90 for ranged champions. Also, the Omnivamp has been lowered from 10 to 8. With all the item changes we've covered, let's head over to the champion changes next, beginning with the top lane. So one big change last patch was that Frostfire Gauntlet and Chemtank got some big buffs. Cho'Gath was a huge winner from this change, and this patch's E damage has been reduced from 22 to 80 to 22 to 70 to compensate. It's a toss-up and we'll keep Cho'Gath in the S tier for now, but it's definitely a close call whether or not he should be moved to the A tier. Make sure you guys are subscribed if you want to receive a notification for our mid-patch update next week. In addition, we did see a ton of buffs to marksman items, notably Lord Dominic's Regards, so we'll have to wait and see how tanks really do this patch. Also, don't think I forgot this one. This is our question of the day. What is your favorite class of character to play? Obviously, you guys know me. I love tanks. I'll always play tanks because I'm a boomer and I have boomer mechanics. The reason why I play tanks is because it's easy for me to look at the map and make decisions while also focusing on my micro, because tanks don't take very much mechanical skill. Either way, let me know what your guys' answers are below. We're very curious to hear them. There is no right answer here, by the way. Now on to Pantheon. Pantheon has gotten huge nerfs this patch, well-deserved ones actually. His Q now deals 70% damage to monsters as well, and the cooldown has been increased drastically from 10 to 8 seconds to 13 to 8 seconds. On top of this, don't forget that Gourd Drinker and Eclipse have gotten some adjustments this patch as well, with less sustain and a much longer cooldown on Q. We think that Pantheon will fall off a bit, and so we've moved him down to the S tier as a result. Next is a buff to Singed. His Q's AP ratio has been increased from 80% to 90%. He's been underperforming as his best mythic items have gotten nerfed over the past few patches. Turbo Chemtank's buff was a buff for almost every champion. Singed was one of the few champions who could utilize the tenacity, slow resistance, and the active of Turbo Chemtank optimally, while many other champions prefer the ability haste it now provides. We'll leave Singed in the B tier for now, but we'll let you know next week if that changes. I'm just going to start this next one off by saying that Riven is up in the S tier, guys. Our analysts believe that there's a good chance she could even become OP. However, it will take some time for that one because people will have to optimize her build still. Her E's cooldown has been reduced from 12 to 8 to 10 to 6. A lowered cooldown on her E not only means more shields, it also means more mobility. That is terrifying on a Riven. Riven is strong because she's well-rounded and versatile. This buff opens up even more outplay potential while also making her strong in all-in fights as well. God, this buff is going to be hard to digest next patch. I think BoxBox is going to start playing League again. Riven is very hard to play though. If you guys are interested in learning how to play Riven, go get a challenger coach right now at ProGuides.com. She's really tough to play, but when you master her, you can climb so easily. Save yourself some time and some headache and go get a coach on ProGuides. Mordekaiser has also been buffed. His E's cooldown has been lowered from 24 to 12 to 22 to 10. It's a nice buff, but we don't think it'll have enough of an impact to move him up a tier. Aside from these changes, we've moved Viego into the A tier. Solo lane Viego is a thing now, but he definitely feels much stronger in the mid lane. As an AD champion, you're usually going to be able to apply more kill pressure against mages than you are against bruisers or tanks, who can easily build armor through plated steel caps. Our solo king of the top right now is Darius. With the nerfs to Pantheon, we think Darius will reign supreme this patch, but following closely behind in the S tier are Pantheon, Malphite, Aatrox, Shen, Wukong, Camille, Maokai, Garen, Poppy, Cho'Gath, Gnar, and Riven. Next up, guys, let's go through the jungle changes. Olaf has gotten some big nerfs this patch alongside item nerfs. His base health has been lowered from 597 to 575, while his passive attack speed has been lowered from 0 to 100% to 0 to 75% based on missing health. The loss of 25% attack speed is an insane change. Not only does it hurt him in combat, it also cripples Olaf's clear speed, and as a result, we've had to move him down from the OP tier to the S tier. Because of Olaf's incredible damage output early on, we think he still has a good shot, but we'll keep our eyes on him and let you guys know how he's doing next week. Rammus popped off last patch with the changes to Turbo Chemtank. His E's cooldown has been increased from 12 to 10 seconds based on level to 12 seconds flat. Because Turbo Chemtank provides you with ability haste, we think that this change is one Rammus players can live with. He's going to be staying in the S tier as a result. Elise is up for another round of nerfs, this time a bit harsher as she's still a prominent pick in high elo. Elise's human form Q damage has been decreased from 40 to 180 to 40 to 160. Also, her W's attack speed has been reduced from 60 to 140% to 60 to 100%. Like Olaf, we've also had to move her down from the OP into the S tier. We've hit that point where Ivern has actually become OP. There used to be a time when an Ivern would come into my game, I'd be like, okay, well, we lost this one, might as well just surrender. those times are over and Ivern is extremely strong. While the champion is strong, I think the items are what really bring out the best in him. Ivern's health per level has been decreased by 10 this patch, and his E now shields for less. The value went from 80 to 220 to 80 to 200 this patch. In spite of this though, he's going to be staying in the S tier, just a little bit weaker than before. The craziest thing is that we've come to a point where we can say that both Udyr and Ivern have actually become really strong picks. Udyr has also been nerfed this patch with his Phoenix stance damage going down from 50 to 300 to 50 to 275. Again, we're going to keep him in the S tier for now. I never thought that I would say that these two would actually be in the S tier, but here we are in 2021 with Ivern and Udyr wreaking havoc on all of us on Summoner's Rift. One of the biggest nerfs this patch is coming to Taliyah. She's popped off a little bit too hard for Riot's taste. In high elo, her win rates nearly exceeded 55% last patch. For you guys who don't think she's OP, I'm very sorry, but it's one of those cases where she's just going to be too strong in elite play, and thus she's getting nerfed. Her passive movement speed has been buffed, however, from 12 to 40% to 20 to 45%. As a trade-off for the fact that her Q deals 80% damage to jungle monsters beyond the first stone. This change hurts a lot, and we're going to be moving her down to the A tier as a result. Shyvana has gotten a big change this patch as well. Her Q now includes a 40% AP ratio, and her W now provides 8% movement speed for every 100 AP. AP Shyvana looks like a promising pick this patch, so we've moved her up to the A tier. With the Pantheon nerfs this patch, we've also moved him down to the B tier. His clear speed has taken a huge hit, but our analysts want to give him some more time before deciding if he needs to be moved down further or not. Our OP jungle picks this patch are Graves, Kha'Zix, and Hecarim, followed by Evelynn, Rammus, Echo, Kayn, Nunu, Ivern, Fiddlesticks, Karthus, Udyr, Viego, Olaf, and Elise in the S tier. Before moving to the mid tier, I want to mention that if you want to climb a lot this patch, I do recommend choosing a jungler. Junglers have so much agency over the game, they can really identify who to gank and how to snowball each lane to a win. If you guys are interested in playing jungle, it is a little bit hard, but you can go to ProGuides.com. We have a ton of great resources for you to become a better jungler. The easiest way is to obviously get a challenger coach who will tell you exactly what pathing you should be doing, what builds you should be getting, and then how to snowball your game to a win. Starting with Anivia in the mid lane, many people have been asking her to get some nerfs. As a result, Riot, being the amazing company that they are, have listened to us, and they are going to be nerfing her. Her Q damage has been lowered from 70 to 210 plus 50% AP to 60 to 200 plus 45% AP. Also, her ultimate's cooldown was increased from 4 to 1 seconds to 4 to 2 seconds. This is a noticeable nerf, but we think that Anivia is strong enough to push through them and remain an OP pick. This is because she ended the last patch with a 54% win rate in high elo. Even if this nerf makes her a bit weaker, she's undoubtedly going to remain a powerful mid laner. Another champion players have wanted nerfed is Seraphine. Again, I think it's more about the items, but Seraphine herself is quite blatantly broken right now as well. The items are just too strong on an already powerful champion, leading to some unbalanced gameplay. She provides an incredible amount of utility no matter what role she's played in. Her passive's damage has been decreased from 5 to 20 to 4 to 16. Also, her W shield has been reduced from 60 to 120 to 50 to 100. We'll leave her in the S tier for now because of how strong she's proving to be. We'll save the spotlight for her other roles more so than her power as a mid laner. Sylas has also been buffed this patch. His Q's mana cost has been decreased from 50 to 75 to 55 flat. His W's damage up from 65 to 205 plus 85% AP to 70 to 210 plus 90% AP. This is a rather small buff and we'll keep him in the B tier for now. Vladimir has also been buffed this patch. In his case, it's a big one. His ultimate's cooldown has been lowered from 150 to 120 to 120 flat. Taking 30 seconds off early means that Vlad's mid-game is going to be so much stronger than before. If he wins those early fights, he can snowball into the late game where he literally 1v9s. For now, we'll leave him in the A tier, but expect him to be back with a lot more potential. Our OP picks for the mid lane are Echo, Fizz, and Anivia. Followed up in the S tier are Pantheon, Zed, Victor, Annie, Katarina, Galio, Malphite, Yone, Yasuo, Seraphine, Qiyana, and Viego. Like we mentioned earlier, solo lane Viego is popping off and the mid lane is where he seems to be finding the most success. Players do not expect his high damage output, and thus he has a lot more kill potential than you'd expect. Viego is proving himself to be an excellent carry with a ton of versatility. I mean, when you can literally take control of any champion on the other team, there are just so many options to take advantage of. Alright, now let's move on to the bot lane. First up, we have changes to Jinx. She's gotten quite a few this patch, so let's go over them real quick. First, her base health has taken a big hit, as it's been lowered from 610 to 550. However, in compensation, her Q rocket range has been increased by 25 at all ranks, and the rocket form penalty has been lowered from 25% attack speed to 10% attack speed. Finally, her E's mana cost has been increased from 70 to 90, but the arm time has been lowered from 0.7 seconds to 0.5 seconds. While she's squishier than before, Jinx has gained a lot more power elsewhere. The arm time being lowered on her E is a giant buff, as she'll be able to much more easily chain CC with her support, or even land a root off of one of her own Ws when things play out perfectly. Even if she can't, the threat of it is so much stronger than before, and her enemies won't have as much time to try and run through the traps compared to before. Considering this, as well as the range buff, we've moved Jinx up to the B tier. Overall, she's much more of a glass cannon than before. They've buffed up her offense, but made her more fragile in return. Ezreal is also up for some buffs this patch. His Q's AD ratio has been increased from 120 to 130%. This buff has been needed for a while now after the nerfs to Manamune. For now, we're going to be leaving Ezreal in the A tier. The final change we have in the bot lane is to Seraphine, who we've decided to place in the OP tier. While we didn't place her as OP in the mid lane, that's because we think she's stronger elsewhere, like the bot lane. Our analyst did mention bot lane Seraphine emerging in our last patch update, and as promised, she's gained enough popularity for us to place her. Seraphine can lane with other supports to provide never-ending utility for her teammates. Two of the most popular duo lanes are Senna and Sona, so either you run Seraphine and kind of role swap marksman and support roles, or you play the double Seraphine bottom lane. Double Sona, whatever you want to call it. Just let me know in the comments which one it is. Similarly to how bot lane Sona popped off last season, the same thing is happening now with Seraphine. In spite of the nerfs to Staff of Flowing Water, as well as to Seraphine herself, we think she'll remain a powerful pick headed into next patch. That being said, our OP picks for the bot lane are Jhin, Misfortune, Kai'Sa, and Seraphine, followed by Samira, Ashe, and Vayne in the S tier. Alright guys, now let's wrap it up with supports. As many of us expected, Karma was buffed this patch. Karma's mana regeneration has been increased from 11.5 to 13, and her Q's mana cost down from 65 to 55. You'll have a lot more opportunities to cast your Q for poke, and don't have to feel so anxious about potentially missing anymore. You know, sometimes I throw out some zoning cues to pressure my opponents, and this change means that it's okay to miss here and there. We're going to be moving up Karma to the B tier, not because of this buff, but because players are using the Moonstaff build on her more and more. Combination of Moonstone Renewer and Staff of Flowing Water are very powerful in Karma, and her win rates soar to the sky when she uses them both. Rel has received some adjustments as well this patch. Her E's cooldown on Unbinding Self has been lowered from 3 to 1 seconds. She also received an extra 20% AP ratio to her W when she's crashing down, making it 60% instead of 40. Her Mount Up Empowered Auto Attack also got buffed, now scaling with 40% of Rel's AP. If that wasn't enough, the AP ratio on her ult is getting buffed all the way up to 110% from 70%. These are huge buffs to Rel's damage, and hopefully players don't start taking her into the solo lane with these changes. So she's going to be remaining in the S tier. Again, while Seraphine has faced some nerfs this patch, we do think she'll be an incredibly strong pick. We've moved her up to the OP tier as the meta has developed and enchanters are making their presence known. Our OP picks for supports are Leona, Lulu, Thresh, and Seraphine, followed up by Maokai, Bard, Morgana, Nami, Janna, Alistar, Brand, Nautilus, and Rel in the S tier. If you guys are having trouble dealing with enchanters because of their healing or shields, make sure to adapt accordingly to this patch. Chemtech Putrefier is a great item to counter healing, but ironically you'll have to play an enchanter yourself to counter other ones if you want to utilize it. For shields, try to convince your teammates to build Serpent's Fang, or just play Rel and do it yourself. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up patch 11.3. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for the support you've given us over the past year. We are very grateful for it. If you guys enjoyed content like this, please leave us a like and consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps us out. If you guys want to get better at League of Legends and watch some amazing courses from pro players like Doublelift, then go ahead and go to ProGuides.com. You won't regret it. That's it for me, guys. Thank you so much. It's been Christoph once again. Good luck your next few games, and I'll see you on the Rift.